Discover incredible life-changing stories of hidden heroes, heartwarming body counts exposed. In the quiet town of Maplewood, where summers lingered and winters whispered secrets, Ethan stood as the beating heart of the community. A modest mechanic with grease-stained hands, he had inherited his family's auto shop, a sanctuary of hard work and genuine kindness. For him, every car that rolled into his garage was more than just a vehicle, it was a lifeline for a neighbor, a chance to bridge the gaps that hardship had created. His laughter echoed among clanking tools, a familiar sound that invited friendship and warmth, but an invisible storm was brewing. Rumors of layoffs and shuttered storefronts blurred the once bright-eyed optimism in the faces of Maplewood's residents. Ethan felt that anxiety in the air, creeping through the familiar streets where he had fixed countless cars. Friends became hesitant, eyes cast down when they couldn't pay for repairs. Instead of retreating, Ethan extended his hand, offering free fixes and hearty meals. Yet, with every act of goodwill, a part of him began to fray. He could feel the tension growing, the whispers at the local diner growing sharper. Some proclaimed him a saint, others labeled him naive. Just then, the town's beloved Mr. Turner, a veteran known for his unwavering spirit, vanished without a trace. His absence spread fear and urgency, igniting a community search. Ethan watched as neighbors, once divided by social barriers, rallied together, placing differences aside in the face of a common cause. That search, fueled by hope and dread, transformed the town. Once enraged by rumors of need, families who turned a blind eye were now overcoming their prejudices, wearing their hearts on their sleeves for the greater good. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With the search in full swing, Ethan found himself reflecting on what community meant to him. The bonds forged over shared struggles were raw and beautiful. Yet, the shadows of his own beliefs loomed large. He realized he held biases about his neighbors, thoughts that separated him from those who had stumbled. As he wrestled with these demons, newfound friendships ignited a fire within him, compelling him to confront his past while urging him to confront the future outside the comfortable walls of his family's shop. At the climax of the search for Mr. Turner, the town could practically feel the tension crackle in the air. Children strategized maps with crayons, and older men traded stories of valor under the giant oak in the town square. Ethan, no longer just a mechanic, found himself at a crossroads. Dragging the weight of his father's legacy behind him, he contemplated whether to stay in the shadows of expectation or step boldly into the light of unity and action. His heart raced as voices rose, hope mixing with fear. What would he choose? Would he protect the pride of a past family legacy or join hands with his neighbors, striving to rewrite the future of Maplewood? A decision loomed, one that could change everything. The sun sank low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow over Maplewood. The townsfolk gathered at the community center, an old but strong building that had witnessed decades of laughter, heartache, and togetherness. Tonight, it felt alive with electricity. The atmosphere pulsated with anticipation, as people from all walks of life came together, united by one hope to find Mr. Turner. Ethan hesitated at the entrance, his heart pounding. He could hear the chatter and laughter inside, songs of encouragement filling the air. A part of him longed to peel away from the heavy thoughts tangled in his mind, but another larger part pulled him in. Decision made, he stepped inside, greeted by the sight of his neighbors' faces bright with resolve. As he walked further in, he spotted Amelia, the local schoolteacher, rallying volunteers. Her eyes sparkled with determination. "Ethan," she called, waving him over. "We're organizing search parties. We'll split into groups, cover more ground." Her eagerness was infectious. "Count me in," he replied, feeling a rush of energy surge through him as he nodded in agreement. Contributing, no matter how small, felt right. Soon, the crowd divided into teams. Ethan joined a group headed toward the wooded trails where Mr. Turner often went for walks. As they set off, phrases of encouragement swirled through the air, "We'll find him. And he's a fighter." Ethan's mind swam with memories of Mr. Turner, of the stories they exchanged while Ethan fixed the old man's truck. He remembered the laughter, the spirit of resilience radiating from Turner. The thought of losing such a beacon of hope gnawed at him. He couldn't let the town give in to despair. The sun dipped lower as they trekked through the trails, the sounds of nature adding a tranquil backdrop. Conversations unfolded among the group, revealing tales of hardship, loss, and triumph. His neighbors opened up, sharing their own battles, stripping away the facades they'd worn for years. Each story was a reminder that they were all struggling, that vulnerability was not a sign of weakness but a thread that stitched them together. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes made everyone stop. They froze, hearts racing. Ethan felt the energy shift, fear gripped the group as they exchanged wide-eyed glances. "What was that?" murmured a voice behind him. "Stay close," he whispered, moving ahead cautiously. He could feel the adrenaline coursing through his veins. Just as he reached forward, a figure emerged from the underbrush. It was Mr. Turner, disheveled but alive, a tired smile breaking across his weathered face. "Turner!" Ethan shouted, rushing forward as the rest of the group erupted in cheers. The moment felt electric, a surge of relief washing over everyone. Turner had that familiar spark in his eyes, one that had been dimmed but not extinguished. As they surrounded him, Ethan's heart swelled with gratitude. They weren't just a community now, they were a family, forged through trials and challenges. The return home felt different, lighter. Neighbors exchanged smiles, pats on the back, and hugs. A bond had formed that could never be broken. Yet as Ethan walked alongside Turner, he couldn't shake the thought that this moment was just a beginning. What had he truly learned in the search for Mr. Turner? And what would he do next, now that he understood the power of unity? The challenges facing Maplewood still loomed large. It was clear that this journey had only just begun, leading him to one nagging question: how could he help his community thrive beyond this victory? The sky was a brilliant shade of pink and orange as Ethan and Mr. Turner made their way back to the community center. Excitement buzzed around them like electricity, but deep down, Ethan felt a flicker of anxiety. The relief of finding Turner was overwhelming, but it came with a new understanding of the cracks in their small town's foundation, the struggles, the stories untold. As they entered the community center, the crowd erupted into cheers once more. It was a celebration of survival, of hope rekindled. Ethan found himself swept up in the joy, exchanging hugs and high fives, but the burden of uncertainty lingered at the edge of the festivities. Even amidst the laughter, he sensed the undercurrents of fear and despair still lurking, a reality they could no longer ignore. "How are you feeling, Turner?" he asked, pulling away from a cluster of revelers. "Like I've walked through a storm and come out on the other side," Turner replied, his voice rough but steady. "But storms leave a mark, Ethan. You know that." The old man's words settled heavily in Ethan's chest. Yes, everyone had their storms, often fought quietly. "Let us sit for a moment," he suggested, ushering Turner to an empty corner of the hall. As they sat, Ethan noticed Amelia talking to a few townsfolk nearby, her gaze drifting back to them occasionally, as if sensing a shift in the energy. "Do you think we're ready to face what's next?" Ethan asked, his voice low. Turner studied him for a moment. "You've brought the town together in one night. That's more than I ever expected. But remember, unity doesn't come easy. You'll have to lean on each other, share the burden, not just the joy. People will need you, Ethan. This is just the beginning." Ethan nodded, a stirring of purpose igniting within him. "I want to help. I want to lead." At that moment, Amelia approached, interrupting their heavy discussion. "Ethan, Turner, you both look like you're solving the world's problems over here. We could use your help with the closing announcements." As they joined her at the front, the atmosphere felt lighter, bursting with renewed energy. Ethan could see gratitude and determination on the faces around him. It was contagious, invigorating. When he grabbed the microphone, a surge of adrenaline coursed through him. "Tonight, we've shown what it means to come together as a community," he started, his voice steadying. "But we can't stop here. We have to remember those stories we shared, the trials, the joys, the pain. They are just as much a part of us as tonight's celebration." He felt the energy in the room shift, an expectant quietness as he continued. "Let us take care of each other, not just when the storm hits, but every day. We can't just celebrate life, we need to live it together." Cheers erupted again, louder than before, but within Ethan, a deeper understanding was blooming. The realization that the community needed to overcome more than just tonight's uncertainty ignited a passion in him. Maplewood was on the brink of something bigger, but the roots had to grow strong first. As the speech ended, people began sharing their own stories of support, reminding one another that they were not alone. Laughter mixed with tears, and Ethan realized he was witnessing a transformation, but as he watched neighbors exchanging hopes and dreams, he couldn't help but wonder, was he truly ready to dive into the depths of Maplewood's challenges? What hidden storms were brewing beneath the surface, awaiting their turn to be uncovered? As the night unfolded, Ethan felt a spark igniting something deeper within him. It was time to dig deeper, to transform not just the town, but his place in it. The next chapter of their story awaited, and he was determined to see it through. Where would this journey take him? What truths would he uncover? As the evening wore on, the vibrant chatter of the community center buzzed like a hive. Music played softly in the background, a melodic thread weaving through the heart of the gathering. Ethan watched as faces lit up with hope, illuminating the room, each smile telling a story of resilience. But beneath the surface, he could still feel the weight of what lay ahead. After the final applause faded, Amelia turned to Ethan, her expression earnest. "You know, this isn't just about tonight. We need a plan moving forward, something that keeps this momentum alive." She brushed a lock of hair behind her ear, and Ethan could see the spark of determination reflected in her eyes. "Yeah, I was thinking the same," he admitted, feeling a rush of excitement. "We've got to create opportunities to keep the community engaged. Workshops, discussions, maybe even volunteer projects. We can encourage everyone to get involved, to share their stories." "That sounds incredible." Amelia beamed. "What if we start by reaching out to local leaders and organizations? There is so much talent and experience in this town that can help guide us." Ethan felt his heart race at the thought. They were not just talking about turning a moment into a movement, they could reshape Maplewood's narrative, one story at a time. But was he prepared for the challenges? "Let us do it," he said, resolve solidifying within him. "We'll set up a meeting. I'll talk to Mr. Turner about it. He's been through so much, his insights could be invaluable." As they walked through the crowd, the atmosphere thrummed with camaraderie. Ethan spotted Mr. Turner deep in conversation with Mrs. Campbell, their laughter rising above the rest. It warmed his heart to see the old man smiling. Turner had always been a guiding force, but now he seemed revitalized, almost reborn in the glow of community spirit. "Ethan!" Turner called out as he noticed them approaching. "Join us." They pulled up chairs, and just like that, the conversation shifted to planning. Amelia outlined her ideas, painting a picture of what events could look like, while Turner nodded in agreement, adding his experiences of similar efforts he'd witnessed in his lifetime. "We must focus on rebuilding trust," Turner emphasized, his voice steady but tinged with urgency. "People need to know they matter, that their voices are heard. It's not just about community service, it's about building relationships." Ethan saw the truth in those words. Trust was fragile, and the storm they had weathered had tested it. They needed to find the right way to strengthen the threads that connected them. As laughter filled the room again, though, the weight of reality dulled the sound for Ethan. Who would step forward to share the raw truths of their struggles? What stories were hidden beneath the smiles and laughter? The night drew to a close, but as the crowd dispersed, Ethan felt an unsettling flicker in his gut, the knowledge that while they were celebrating, acknowledgement of deeper issues remained elusive. "Ethan!" Amelia caught him as he lingered. "What's wrong?" He hesitated. "It's just I can't shake the feeling that the real work starts tomorrow. We're missing those voices, the ones afraid to speak up." Amelia sighed, understanding dawning in her eyes. "You're right. There's so much more beneath the surface." Ethan looked out at the emptying room, the last remnants of joy lingering in the air, but he knew they had to dig deeper. They had already taken one step, but how would they uncover the stories locked away in people's hearts? That question echoed in his mind as he left the community center. The fire of determination rekindled, but it brought with it an unease. What revelations lay ahead? Would they find the courage to share, or would fear keep them silent? Tomorrow would be pivotal, and Ethan was more determined than ever to face whatever storms awaited him. As he walked home, he realized he wasn't just leading a movement, he was on the brink of discovering the deeper truths that intertwined their lives. What hidden heroes would emerge, ready to change the course of Maplewood forever? The sun rose slowly over Maplewood, rays of golden light filtering through the trees. Ethan's heart beat with anticipation as he set out for the community center. He felt a strange mixture of excitement and dread. Today wasn't just another day, it was the day he and Amelia would put their plan into action. As he approached the building, he spotted a few familiar faces lingering near the entrance. A group of locals, their expressions ranging from curious to hesitant, gathered like moths drawn to a light flickering in the distance. Ethan cleared his throat, wishing he could bottle his nervousness and turn it into strength. "Hey everyone!" he called, trying to infuse his voice with enthusiasm. "We're starting a new initiative to engage our community. We want to hear your stories." Some nodded, intrigued. Others exchanged glances that hinted at uncertainty. Amelia arrived, her usual sparkle dimmed slightly by a shadow of doubt. "You ready for this?" she asked, stepping up beside him. "More than ever." Ethan fought to convince himself as much as her. They walked inside, where the open space felt vast, ready to embrace whatever energy would fill it. Chairs were arranged in a semicircle just enough to feel intimate, yet spacious enough to let ideas breathe. Posters of previous community events decorated the walls, remnants of moments gone by. "Let's get started," Amelia called out, and the few attendees shuffled in, some taking seats, others lingering by the snacks table. Ethan couldn't ignore the tension swirling in the air, the unsaid words hung heavy, like thick fog. "Thank you all for coming," he began, taking a deep breath. "We want to create a space where everyone feels safe to share their experiences. A place to tell your stories. They matter." Slowly, a few people nodded, their eyes flicking elsewhere as silence crept in. Ethan's palms grew sweaty. It was too quiet. Mrs. Campbell broke the stillness. "You know, Ethan, it's hard. People have been hurt. Some don't know where to start." "Absolutely, and that's okay," Amelia chimed in. "We're here to support each other. Maybe we can start with some icebreakers. Share small stories. It doesn't have to be big, just something to get the ball rolling." Ethan's heart raced. Would anyone speak up? He wished for a breakthrough, the kind of moment that would light a fire in the hearts of everyone in the room. Then Emily, a soft-spoken woman in her 30s, cleared her throat. "When I moved here, I was really struggling. No friends, no family. Just me and my little boy. I didn't know if I'd make it. One day, I found a flyer for a community gathering like this one. I was terrified to come, but I did. And that changed everything. I met some amazing people." Her voice cracked, and the room leaned in, captivated by her vulnerability. Ethan felt warmth spread through him. She had opened a door. As Emily continued, others began to nod and murmur, sharing glances of understanding. The ice had shattered. "Thank you for sharing that, Emily," Ethan said, tears pricking at his eyes. "That takes courage." More voices emerged as stories flowed. Some shared tales of loss, some of hope. One man spoke about the struggles of finding work after losing his job, while another recounted how a neighbor had surprised him with a meal when he needed it the most. Laughter mingled with tears, and the room glowed as walls came down and hearts opened, but amidst this warmth, Ethan's mind raced. They were gaining ground, unearthing the raw truths, but it felt like they were only skimming the surface. The shadows of unspoken struggles loomed larger than ever. Just as they began to find their rhythm, the door swung open abruptly. A new face stepped in, a stranger, brown hair tousled, eyes wide with urgency. "I heard this was happening. I need to talk." The room quieted, all attention drawn to the newcomer. Ethan's heart pounded. Who was this person? What story would unfold now? Would it be the catalyst they needed to dig even deeper into the heart of the community? The stranger stood framed in the doorway, tension rippling through the room like a charged current. The eyes of the locals, once bright with shared memories, now shifted uncertainly towards her. Ethan could almost hear the heartbeats quicken. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice steady despite the storm brewing inside him. "Lila," she breathed, stepping forward. "I've moved here recently. I can't keep this to myself." Her eyes were desperate, yet there was a spark there, a hint of something more, something that needed to break free. Amelia took a step closer, her face a mix of concern and encouragement. "What's on your mind, Lila? You're safe here. Please, share your story." Lila paused, swallowing hard. "I don't even know where to start. I was in a really bad place. I lost my sister last year," and then her voice trailed off, choked with emotion. The vibrant hope that filled the room dimmed slightly, replaced by a deepening silence. "I'm so sorry," Emily offered gently, her own experience lending weight to her words. Lila took a deep breath, her hands clenching into fists at her sides. "I thought coming here would somehow help me heal. But my past, it's haunting me." Tears brimmed in her eyes, reflecting a vulnerable soul. "I didn't just lose her. I lost myself. I was so angry, and I pushed everyone away, not realizing I needed them the most." The air thickened with empathy. Ethan glanced around, even the most hesitant attendees leaned in, their expressions now charged with compassion. "Lila, you're not alone," Ethan said softly. "The purpose of this group is to create a safe space to share the pain and the hope. It's a place to come together, to carry each other's burdens." Lila nodded slowly, some of the fog beginning to lift. "My sister was my best friend. When she passed, I spiraled. I started to make reckless choices. I thought if I distracted myself, it would help. But it didn't. Nothing felt right anymore. I didn't want to feel at all." Amelia stepped forward, her words tender and calming. "That's a heavy load, Lila. But confronting those feelings, acknowledging them, is a brave first step. We all have our struggles, and sharing them could be the beginning of healing, for all of us." Ethan could sense something shifting in the room, as if a light was slowly breaking through the dark clouds of despair. The walls built around Lila's heart began to crack, revealing a flicker of strength behind her pain. "Talking about it feels freeing," Lila admitted, wiping her tears with the back of her hand. "I don't want my sister's memory to be just about loss. She deserves more than that." As the words fell from her lips, Ethan felt the energy ignite anew. This was it. This was the moment they had all needed. "She gives you strength, Lila. Share who she was, the good things, the moments that made you both laugh. Let us help bear that weight with you." Lila drew in a shaky breath and began to recount precious memories of her sister, how they used to bake cookies every Saturday morning, the playful arguments over which movie to watch. The room filled with warmth as laughter mingled with tears, connecting them all in this collective remembrance of love and loss. But just as the conversation gained momentum, a low rumbling noise echoed from outside, pulling their focus abruptly. A woman, breathless and frantic, burst in through the door. "I have to interrupt. There's been an accident, and I think someone needs your help." Ethan's heart raced. "What now?" This meeting, which had seemed so pivotal, was now intertwined with a crisis that none of them had anticipated. Could this be another story waiting to be told, or a desperate call for action? "Who has hurt?" he asked, both fear and determination flooding his voice. Would this moment test the community's resolve at a time when they were just beginning to heal together? Ethan felt the urgency weave its way through his chest as he stood, the room buzzing with a mix of concern and fear. Lila's face shifted from shared grief to an expression of dread as the frantic woman remained at the doorway, glancing back behind her as if the very shadows contained danger. "It's Melissa," she gasped, color draining from her face. "She was driving home from work, and I think she got into an accident on that stretch near the old bridge. I saw the fire truck leave. It was bad." The air thickened with an uneasy silence. Melissa was a familiar face, one they all knew. She always worked late, earning extra hours for her kids. Ethan felt a chill grip his heart. The thought of Melissa lying injured, possibly alone, sent a cold pang through him. "Is she okay?" Lila asked, her voice trembling. The woman shook her head. "I don't know. They took her away just as I got there." "Did you call for help?" Ethan's mind raced as he attempted to absorb the information. It was strange, 1 minute they were sharing stories of love and healing, and now they were thrust into a grim reality. "Please, let us go," Amelia urged, her tone just above a whisper, filled with a maternal instinct that couldn't be ignored. "We can't wait here. We have to see what we can do." Ethan felt the shift. He glanced around the room, meeting the determined eyes of the others. Lila, still shaken, now had a spark of resolve in her gaze. "We can't just stand by. If there's anything we can do, we should help." The group moved as one, urgency propelling them forward. They filed out of the room, the laughter of shared memories fading behind them, replaced by a new kind of gravity, one that bound them in shared purpose. The sky overhead had darkened, clouds gathering resembling the turmoil in their hearts. As they approached the old bridge, the distant wail of sirens filled the air, mingling with the low rumble of thunder. Each step felt heavier than the last, a growing awareness that they were headed into something far beyond their own pain. "Ethan, what if it's worse than we think?" Lila asked, her voice shaking with the weight of the unknown. He turned to her, his heart pounding. "We'll face it together. Whatever it is, we do it as a family." But deep inside, doubt gnawed at him. His instincts screamed that this moment could change everything. They needed to be strong, not just for themselves but for Melissa, and maybe even for others they never knew needed love. As they arrived at the chaotic scene, the flashing lights pierced through the darkness, illuminating the fear etched on the faces of bystanders. Ethan felt an overwhelming sense of unity in the group, despite the dread hanging in the air. This felt like a test of how far they had come, and where they would go from here. The first responders moved swiftly, tension spiraling around them, but amidst the chaos, an odd sense of clarity gripped Ethan. He spotted Melissa's car smashed against a tree, smoke billowing from the hood. He pushed forward, fighting through the crowd as panic simmered beneath the surface. "Melissa!" he called, desperation coating his voice. The world around him faded as he focused on that name, on a life that could still be saved. Would they be brave enough to rise together after this day? Could they transform the pain into something that could help heal their community? As he approached the vehicle, the one question loomed larger than all others: would they be able to extend their newfound strength beyond their own pain, or would this dark moment tear them apart? Ethan pushed through the throng, the crowd parting like waves before him. His heart raced, fueled by fear and hope. Each step felt instinctively heavy, yet each heartbeat drove him closer to Melissa. As he neared the shattered remains of her car, his breath caught in his throat. The sight was horrific. Metal crumpled upon itself, glass shattered like so many dreams of a peaceful evening. It brought a gut-wrenching realization: one simple drive home had turned into a nightmare. The first responders were already at work, but what if it wasn't enough? "Ethan, please." Lila's voice broke through his haze of panic. She pulled at his arm, and he turned to see the terror in her eyes. "We need to find out what happened." Right. He nodded, forcing himself to pivot from the wreckage, desperately seeking any information. Nearby, a police officer stood, speaking grimly into his radio. Ethan approached, heart in his throat. "Sir, what do you know about Melissa? Is she okay?" The officer looked up, his expression hardening like stone. "I can't provide details. We're still assessing the situation. Please step back." Ethan felt his world tilt. He glanced back at Lila, who held onto Amelia's hand like a lifeline. The weight of uncertainty crushed him. "We have to do something, but what?" There were paramedics, there were police, and he was just an ordinary guy caught in extraordinary circumstances. A figure emerged from the crowd, an elderly man with a frayed baseball cap. His eyes darted frantically between the scene and the onlookers. "I saw the whole thing. I was just across the road," he shouted, his voice sharp as a knife slicing through the noise. "Please," Ethan said, drawing closer. "What did you see?" The man's hands trembled as he clasped them together. Memories at the forefront of his mind were vivid. She didn't look like she was speeding, but that truck came out of nowhere. Ethan understood now the gravity of what was being revealed. A story was unfolding, one that held the power to change lives not only for Melissa but for everyone who loved her. Faced with the possibility of loss, his resolve strengthened. "We have to stay here. We need to know." Lila stepped forward, determination replacing her earlier fear. "Exactly. If there's a chance to help her, we have to be here for her," she said, glancing back at Amelia. Their eyes met, unspoken understanding passing between them. Just then, a stretcher rolled past them, and Ethan's breath hitched in his throat. Laying motionless on the back was Melissa, her face pale, surrounded by frantic medics. They were working swiftly, but the way they moved it felt wrong. Wasn't there supposed to be more hope with each action? The moment felt suspended in time. The world around him blurred, all that mattered was Melissa. Would she make it? What would happen if she didn't? Pain gripped Ethan as he fought to hold back tears. There was a lesson in resilience awaiting them all, but at what cost? As night fell, the energy shifted. The hum of sirens faded, replaced by an eerie stillness that settled over the gathering crowd. Uncertainty lay thick like fog. "Do you think she'll be okay?" Amelia whispered, her voice barely audible. I don't know." Ethan felt vulnerable, exposed. "But we'll fight for her. Whatever it takes." Then, a commotion to the side drew their attention. A woman broke through, eyes wild and frantic. "That's my sister!" she screamed, rushing toward the medics. Ethan's heart sank. Who was she? Did this woman know something they didn't? The air crackled with tension as he watched the scene unravel. Who was Melissa to her sister? What secrets bound their lives together? He took a breath, preparing for whatever would come next. They were all about to learn how far love could reach in the face of despair. Would they stand together when the truth finally emerged? The woman pushed past the crowd, tears streaming down her cheeks, her body shaking with desperation. Every part of Ethan's being wanted to run to her, to comfort her, but he couldn't move. He was frozen in place, the tension coursing through the air pulling him tight. "Melissa!" the woman cried, her voice breaking. "Please, just hold on." Ethan's heart raced as he pieced together the connection. This had to be Melissa's sister. Were there hidden layers to Melissa's life he had no idea about? The world felt like it was closing in on him, questions spiraling in his mind. The police officer stepped in front of the sister, trying to hold her back, a firm hand resting on her shoulder. "Ma'am, I need you to stay calm," she shouted, her eyes wide with panic. "My sister is she's," her voice faltered. Breath hitching, she seemed to steel herself, pushing past her own fear. "I need to be with her. I have to get to her." It struck Ethan then, how fragile everything was. He was terrified for Melissa, but here was a woman who bore love for her sister thick and heavy like a cloak. The memories they shared, what were they? Laughter at family holidays? Secrets whispered in the dark? He caught Lila's gaze, searching for clarity. "What do we do?" he asked her, urgency cracking his voice. "Let us follow her," Lila replied, determination glinting in her eyes. They moved closer, trailing the sister who was now pleading with the medics. "Please, you have to help her. She is my sister, my only sister." The helplessness in her voice pierced through the chaos, giving Ethan a sense of purpose. They had to support her, and perhaps it was a chance for him to understand Melissa more deeply, who she truly was beneath the surface he always skims. As they closed in, the sister stumbled forward, almost collapsing as she reached the medics. One of them glanced back, frustration etched on his face. "We're doing everything we can." The urgency in the air thickened, and Ethan stood frozen as he watched the medics work. They were a blur of movement, shouting commands, rushing supplies. But something about their frantic energy bred more fear than confidence. He could sense Lila and Amelia drawing closer to him, sharing their fears without saying a word. Then, suddenly, there was silence. The medics stepped back, their expressions grave. The sister froze. A heavy silence dropped over the crowd like a thick blanket, blending with the dark of the encroaching night. Ethan felt his stomach knot. "What is happening?" he whispered, gripping Lila's hand tightly, his pulse thundering in his ears. A voice called out, barely above a whisper, "What are the chances, Ethan?" Lila's sharp intake of breath pulled him back to the moment. "Look!" Melissa's sister had fallen to her knees, hands clutching at her hair, her emotions flooding out in anguished sobs. The rawness of her pain sent ripples through the crowd. "No, no, no, please. Don't take her from me." Ethan's chest tightened. He had never witnessed grief like this. It was visceral, and it rooted itself deep in his gut. There was something heart-wrenchingly beautiful yet utterly devastating about this bond, a reminder of what was truly at stake. As Ethan looked on, stunned, the realities of life and loss collided. He realized now more than ever that they were standing on the precipice of fate. Suddenly, someone shouted, a medic breaking through the silence. "We need a decision. Now." The sister looked up, eyes blazing, determination sparking through her pain. "Do whatever it takes to save my sister," she cried, defiance rising with each word. Ethan felt chills cascade over him. He understood then, love wasn't just evident in joyful moments, it was forged in the depths of despair. The sister's plea resonated with him. It was a rallying call, an invitation to join a fight he didn't know he was ready for, and in that moment, he realized they all had a choice to make. How far would they be willing to go to save Melissa? As the crowd held its breath, a voice inside Ethan whispered of impending revelations. Would this sister's love be enough to pull them through the dark? What unforeseen challenges would they have to navigate together? As the gravity of the moment weighed heavily on Ethan, he glanced around at the faces of his friends and neighbors. The fear, the uncertainty, they all shared it. But interwoven between those emotions was a newfound courage. They weren't just spectators anymore, they were part of something bigger, an unseen force, rallying around love, loss, and hope. "Everybody," Ethan shouted, cutting through the tension. "We all feel helpless right now, but we need to channel this into action. We can't let fear dictate our steps. Melissa needs to know she has support. Let us show her she is not alone." His words hung in the air, sparking something within the crowd. Murmurs of agreement cascaded through the bystanders, building momentum. He felt Lila squeeze his hand tighter, and he turned to her, seeing determination reflected in her eyes. "Let us gather around. Pray, send positivity, anything to give her strength," Lila urged. Nodding, Ethan took a lead, ushering everyone closer. The sister glanced toward them, her tear-streaked face softening at their presence. Ethan stepped ahead, kneeling beside her. "We're here with you. You don't have to face this alone. The sister, though trembling, nodded. It was a small gesture, but it signified steel being forged in the face of fear. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice cracking. And in that moment, community bloomed in the midst of adversity, the energy shifting from despair to solidarity. They formed a circle. One by one, voices rose soft at first, but growing bolder. "We're here for you, Melissa." Some called out. "Stay strong." Others shouted. Through the chaos, as lights flashed and the medics continued their work, there was a palpable warmth, a collective heartbeat of love echoing through the air. Ethan found himself closing his eyes, focusing on the warmth of their unity, feeling it wrap around them like a blanket, shielding them from the cold despair lurking just beyond. Within moments, the sister joined in, raising her hands to the sky. "Please, just help her. She is my everything." He could feel the collective power in the words spoken. He opened his eyes and saw more faces joining their circle, people from Maplewood stepping up, stepping together against the tide of fear. The crowd swelled, a band of warriors formed by life's hardest trials. Hope surged as they stood united. "Let us shout her name," Ethan urged. "Let us remind her of the life waiting for her." As if on cue, the gathering erupted. "Melissa! Melissa!" They chanted her name, stronger with each repetition, drowning out the chaos around them. In those moments, love poured out like a river, surging with relentless energy, a testament to the bonds formed in their shared struggles. Laughter, joy, pain, it all wove together in a grand tapestry of humanity. Together, standing there, they understood that they were powerful. From behind them, a medic stepped forward. "We have news." Ethan's heart quickened. Every breath now felt charged with the hope they manifested together. Silence fell over the crowd, anticipation clinging to every tense moment. The medic continued, "Melissa is stable. She's going into surgery. It's going to be a long road to recovery, but she is fighting." Relief washed over them like a cool breeze on a hot summer day. Cheers erupted as the sister broke down in tears of joy, face nodded in gratitude. A wave of emotion cascaded over the crowd, hugs exchanged, tears shared, everyone uplifted by the miracle of hope ignited by love and community. And as the night wrapped its dark arms around them, the weight of their journey together, the struggles, shared vulnerabilities, made them all stronger. Maplewood wasn't just a town anymore. It had become a family, bound together by every sorrow and every joy. Standing among them, Ethan felt a sense of purpose flood his heart. The road ahead would still hold challenges, layers of hidden stories still waiting to surface, but he finally understood. Together, they could navigate the storms. Together, they could emerge born anew, stronger than ever. "Thank you for being here tonight," he announced to the crowd as the adrenaline began to fade. "We'll carry this light forward. We'll keep the momentum going. Let us not stop here. This is just the beginning of us truly coming together." As night enveloped them in a serene embrace, Ethan caught Lila's gaze. There was so much more to uncover, and they were ready. They would unearth the hidden truths, but they would do it together, one step at a time. United, they would face whatever storm life sent their way, and at the center of it all would be their unwavering love for each other, turning every trial into a tale of triumph. And with that, they turned the page to a new chapter, hand in hand, heart to heart. Now is the moment to take action. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you to rise above your own struggles. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and let everyone know these stories matter. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear from you, because your voice matters, and share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel with your actions.